I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and this is round 1 of the 2025 World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, and you cannot believe for how many months I wanted to utter those words. It is that big time of the year. For the next 2 months, we're going to have ourselves a lot of high-level Carcassonne content. This year, there are as many as 38 teams, which is a record, and we are going to be starting straight with the classic. France, who is the reigning silver medalist, and Spain, who finished 4th in 2023, so two very strong teams, some strong familiar players, and some newer players as well. Note that this is not the first match of the championship. Already on Monday, Thailand took the first victory in the tournament against Lithuania in Group C. And in 3 minutes, before the match is going to start, we're going to do a little preview. I expect for it to be a 3-2 result for one team or the other. It should be really close, but not on all tables necessarily. So, on table 1, Squalus of France should be a bit of favorite over Zyamat of Spain, just rating-wise and experience-wise. Squalus has been performing pretty well. At some point, they took the top rating spot on Board Game Arena a few months ago, albeit briefly. And recently they finished 2nd in the France National Online Championship, finishing only behind Viv, which brings us to table 2, where Viv should be a massive favorite against King Claudian of Spain. So let me actually just click through the pages. So Squalus is right here, rated 639 at the moment. Peak, I think, quite close to 800, 700 something. Viv is currently rated over 800 at the moment, and even though Zyamat has a solid 553, rating-wise, it's just a precipice, and I would expect Vivian to take care of that. Now, Jalamax is rated around 600 with 11,000 games of experience, but he's playing Valle 13, whom I actually expect to be the slight favorite due to her vast tournament experience, and as you can see, also 16 casual games played on Board Game Arena. These are absolutely ridiculous numbers, and this is the duel that we're going to watch. I think it's the closest one. I'm going to give a slight advantage for Valle. That's my prediction. And on table 4, what are we having on table 4? We're having a newer player. I've seen him before, but I haven't really streamed their matches. Houdini FR. Let's see if they manage to wiggle out of the jaws of... wait, who's their opponent? Yeah, Zocanora, currently the highest rated Spanish player and one of the 3 Spanish masters, along with Estroncio on table 4. Estroncio should be a massive table on table 4, even though Estroncio currently rated only 600. His peak is over 700, and he has a unique, spectacular playing style, so much so that in 2023 he was the hero of not 1 but 2 episodes of Carcassonne Move of the Week. So make sure to watch the respective videos after this has finished. There are some new things. Well, let me just start the games real quick. Where's Valle? There she is. Beautiful avatar. Yeah, I really like that the Spanish meeples have customized hairlines depending on the player. And already a few moves made. So before I get into the position, oh yeah, I wanted to let you know that two new things regarding the stream I'm trying out. I'm trying out a 1-minute delay, so let's see how this works. I won't be responding to the chat promptly, but I will be looking at it once in a while. And also I'm trying out a new scoreboard, the one which is going to be straight from the Carcassonne GG website, so that it's going to be updated automatically for the most part. And so we will be able to focus on just the games without having to resort to spending time on updating the scoreboard. But also do let me know how you like these visuals. If not, I can always go back to the old scoreboard. So, what are we having here? Not much has happened on the scoreboard. Vaya's ahead 2 points. She's playing the blue meeples, whilst her French opponent is playing green and is yet to score. The position is very double-edged, so Vaya has some interesting setups. Yeah, she's now trying to start a new city whilst also trying to block Jalamax's city at the top. Jalamax now commits easily a mistake, actually. Yeah, you really want to meeple a monastery like this. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to block this square, right? Because blue is threatening to take this city over here. And he does succeed. But it was so easy to defend. It was actually kind of unfortunate for Vaya that she didn't get a tile to defend. It was so easy to defend that it was better for Jalamax to meeple this monastery as a form of insurance. But a fortunate sequence of 2 monasteries makes me think that maybe the French player had some access to some insider's info. Very prescient move. And the implications of that move is that these 2 blue meeples are blocked and only one green meeple is blocked. But 2 more meeples of green follow this lone guy into the abyss. 1 blocked square and 2 casualties for green. It's looking really grim. So blue is headed for long-term meeple advantage, but Jalamax should not be too worried. So first of all, Vaya's meeples are a bit vulnerable here and here, maybe. Although this guy's pretty safe. But then if she finishes the city here, then suddenly pressure can be put over here. And look how aggressive she is. She does not want to take this meeple back first, because her plan is to put pressure on this meeple of Jalamax. Now I presume that she's going to go here and put pressure on those meeples. So really trying to keep the Frenchman without meeples for as long as possible. A similar move, just splitting the 2 cities. Although still plenty of options for Jalamax to get his meeple back. Now again, interesting decision for Vaya. Is she's going to play defense, maybe here or here, trying to make it harder to block those meeples, or offense? And this is what I expected, and this is in fact the better move. Trying to grow her main asset, which is the meeple advantage. She will be able to do it further now. She also gets 3 points, but finally Jalamax finishes a road, and with half of the game already gone, he is finally on the scoreboard. Hi Carlos, hi PlateMag, hi Luzetian, hi Ian Middleton, hi Napamai, hi Roberto, hi KK Spam, hi Sergio. Noted the comments about the scoreboard. Yeah, it's just an experiment for now. The size is a bit tricky, because as the score is added, then, well, basically it's gonna like jiggle around a little bit. So that's why it has to be a bit big. But I'm going to think what to do about it in future streams. Any feedback for now is appreciated, and both players in the meantime just keep blocking each other, which they should be doing. So interesting that Valle does not even spare a monastery tile, and this is in fact correct, so she makes sure to fully block this 1-point guy. And now, interestingly, so she does not defend this blue guy of herself, she chooses to take 3 points, and I believe it is justified, and it is justified... interesting actually, so this is very aggressive from Valle. She wants to take the 3 points, she also wants to limit the potential of this city, and Jalamax is also, given the fact that he's behind on the scoreboard, he is not keen on blocking the square. Well, finally he blocks the square, but I wonder why Valle did not want to defend. I think on her part, it is an oversight, really. And also this is a big mistake for Valle. I mean, she was doing great, but this is just a massive blunder. She absolutely had to go over here. She could not have allowed Green to finish this 8-point city. And yeah, now the situation's pretty sad for her, at least in the bottom part of the board, with 2 blocked meeples, and she's probably going to need to self-block in order to save this guy. Anyway, so this guy here fully blocks, right? Because there's nothing that fit into the square. This guy can still survive. And I think she has to go here now, because if she doesn't, then Jalamax can get another Dorito, go over here and block her second. But she chooses to just spend 2 tiles on vaguely irritating moves against her opponent. Yeah, so a lot of mistakes, maybe not utilizing the time fully. She's still ahead on the scoreboard, she still has good chances, but many opportunities for the Spanish player to just put the game away. So what she could have done? She could have saved this meeple, and she could have saved this meeple, really. But she figures that she's going to have enough until the end of the game. In the meantime, Green starts a new city on the right. And Blue starts a new city on the left. Jalamax gets 4 points and a 2 versus 0 meeple advantage, but not for long. Now let's see what the Spaniard does. I presume that the move is something like this. Yeah, so fully blocking the square, but it allows... I can't believe this, man. What are these moves? Maybe the French player is tilting a little bit, because he had the chance. He had the chance to use this platform to invade the city of Valle, and it was absolutely crucial. It's just like 10 points for her for free, completely for free. Yeah, very nervous playing style from Jalamax, perhaps, even though he's the highest rated player. Perhaps it's stream jitters, perhaps it's simply facing an opponent with a strong reputation. Also, look at the time management. So both players were starting with 15 minutes. Valle spent half her time, which is still pretty fast for a blocky, complicated position like this. And Jalamax spent only 2.5 minutes. So what is Valle gonna do? She can score in many ways. I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 2 straight lines remaining. So just for fun, she might go here and start her road and then maybe get a straight line and drop a farmer. But instead she's going to drop a 3-point farmer, anticipating the completion of this city, which also makes a lot of sense. What else can she do? Well, maybe she can go for the road now. It's honestly not the worst idea. She can get a meeple back from this city, I presume. There should be a couple of city caps according to my calculations. And because she's 14 points ahead, she should be doing pretty well overall. Yeah, but the problem now is that she actually can't spend her last meeple because there's still a road Dorito available for this square, and she needs to keep a meeple for this eventuality. so that she can use it for scoring 4 points. Jalamax drops a 6-point farmer straight away. Does not go for a road. Maybe going for a road was actually better for him, trying to score a little bit more before committing to a 6-point farmer. But I assume that the Frenchman's idea is to simply get a meeple back from here and then do something else. Possibly score or invade the field, or maybe just meeple this long road. So I'm not keeping track of the points necessarily, but it looks like Valle, due to her lead on the scoreboard, should eke this out, even though, you know, Green has better ruins, this one especially, and better fields as well. 6 points for this area versus 3 points for this area that Valle has. Oh, that's a nice find by the Spaniard. A 6-point field, not that easy to spot. And she also wins the coin flip for the first city cab, gets herself a meeple back. Jalamax prolongs, but not finishes his city, and Valle gets a second city cap. So not the best draws for the Frenchman, at least recently. The Spanish player is going to munch on the quick points, and Jalamax is going to finally finish his city, but too little too late, as he won't be able to capitalize on his last meeple. Finally, the Dorito is drawn by Valle. She scores 4 points for road, 1 point extra for a city, and she wins this quite confidently. Yeah, tough to say what went wrong for Jalamax. Maybe just time management wise. Could have thought about some critical positions a little bit more, because it feels like the French player gave up a little bit too soon. He did get himself into an early meeple disadvantage, but even after that, the game was somewhat salvageable. I'm going to have a low score towards the end. Valle only 3 points ahead before the final points are counted. But 15 points ahead if we include the field. I'm going to continue with this table, probably because they should be finished pretty soon. I expect Valle to win the second one, really. Oh, the thing with the scoreboard, though, I think what I need to do is to sometimes go here and yeah, and do this. Now let's see if it's still there. Close enough. A tad off, but actually let me just fix it. Let me just fix it. I can fix it. Huh, look at this. It's actually not that bad. Oh, the one thing that I'm missing, of course, is this. So that y'all can see all the duels, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's not that bad, actually. Maybe there's room to make it a bit smaller in the future. Anyway, back to the duels. Yeah, both players proceeding at a quite a brisk pace, and this opening is much more eventful than the first opening of the first game. The Spanish player already has 4 points to her name, and actually fantastic position. So Jalamax, of course, now takes briefly a lead on the scoreboard as a result of completing his 5-point road. But look at blue. She has 7 points over here. She has pressure on this meeple over here. For example, she could and maybe even should go here and try and block this square. Instead, she goes for a different one. Not sure if that's the top priority. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's not the top priority. So maybe a move like this in the future, or maybe something like this. Well, let's see. Still has a good position. The reason why I like blue's position so much is not only because blue is going to finish the city to get a meeple back, or maybe even finish this city. Yeah, so she chooses to finish the higher scoring city first. But the reason why her position is so good is because of this early farmer by Jalamax. There's still a possibility that this guy is going to score well. Maybe if this city is completed, if this city is completed, and this city is completed, so there's going to be at least 3, which will amount to 9 points. But it's really not that easy to get all 3 cities completed. And of course, one of the city belongs to Spain anyway. Now also fantastic draw by Valle. She starts stacking monasteries, and a great move from Jalamax, actually. So he's now trying to do what his opponent did to him in the last game. It does not look like it is going to work, but his plan was to just inflict a severe meeple disadvantage on the Spaniard. Well, maybe he's going to succeed, because look at this square. It is very, very dangerous, because there's only one tile available that fits there. Now blue successfully covers up, although it cost her a couple of points. Also, this square is slightly vulnerable. Maybe Jalamax could go here in the future and do something about this. So Valle is now trying to break Jalamax's bigger city. He doesn't seem to mind, and what an interesting move. He's now putting additional pressure on the poor Spanish lady. Although it could backfire. For example, imagine if blue gets one of the 2 remaining starting tiles. She can go over here, drop a farmer, then get a curve, meeple this 5-point road, get a crossroads, meeple a 2-point road, and also finish her 5-point road, turning it into a 6-point road. So there's some possibilities, high scoring possibilities for Valle. Also, look at these 2 monasteries. They are outscoring the field as it is now. But you know what? It is quite possible for Jalamax to win this. So first of all, Valle is going to be in a very bad position if she does not draw this tile over here, because Jalamax's meeple advantage is just huge. And then he'll be probably able to develop his field somewhat. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not that easy to develop this field, because all these road pieces, they're kind of covering up the field pretty well, so it is quite likely to stay at 6 points. Oh, look at this. So it's not my problem. Whenever one player disconnects, I always assume that it is my fault, but in this case, it actually isn't. Oh, look at Valle. So she sacrifices a point, but for a noble cause. So she takes 2 points for road, but this is with the purpose of setting up a 6-point road for herself. And this is a point sacrifice because a 3-point road was available here, so the Spanish player still remembers her tactics. She's only 4 points behind on the scoreboard. But you know, a bit of an uphill climb for her still. I'm not sure. It's a very dynamic position because I kind of keep forgetting that she has the monasteries. But you know, Jalamax has the majority on the fields. Don't meeple the farm. Yeah, well done. 4 points for the city. And Jalamax gets himself another farmer, but I think Vaya should be okay with this because they're now equal. This farm looks nice, but it's only going to score 9 points after a curve is placed here and both these farmers are connected. And Vaya will be able to use her meeples for something good. Maybe invading this ruin through here, or if desperation occurs through here, is possible. Now the Frenchman's thinking whether it is worth to spend a meeple on the monastery, and I think it is. Not only because it is worth 5 points, but because it has a very good potential for completion. Not many road tiles have gone out. So actually it's still possible to build a 7-point road or a 6-point road, no, 7-point road all the way around here. Also, it's possible to score quick points with these road ends whilst building this monastery. Let me just double check if everybody's connection is all right. Oh, no. No, everything's fine. So he does meeple this, and he does even spend an extra move on getting himself 1 more point. Which does not make sense to me, because why would he not go here and take the 6-point road? I am not liking this for Jalamax necessarily. I get what he's trying to do. Like, he's trying to preserve his temporary meeple advantage. But towards the end of the game, the meeple advantage is not going to do all that much. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's still 3 curves. There are 3 curves that go into this square. So Vaya is going to draw a curve eventually. And she's going to take those 6 points. So it could be a 12-point mistake for Jalamax. Maybe a bit less than 12 point because Vaya is suffering a little bit without meeples. For example, she can't afford to meeple the city cap because she needs to keep a meeple for a curve. Or maybe for a horse tile that goes over here to score a couple of points. Yeah, and she simply discards the tile, although it is a little bit dangerous for a variety of reasons. Now, Jalamax has a couple of strong moves available to him. Let's see if he finds it. No, he does not. He just simply continues his city at the top, and it does not make, like, it makes 0 sense to me. Well, it makes some sense. But certainly required a bit more calculation. So he's now trying to build around the monastery. So this construction project was successful, although slightly interrupted by Vaya, who ended up with the longer side of this road for 5 points. But the 9 points for the monastery are under Jalamax's belt regardless. He now scores 4 extra for a city, 11 points extra on the scoreboard. Vaya is probably going to use her horse where it belongs, right? So here, building up her city. Yeah, she takes the 2 points for the road, so that's a 5-point move in total. And Jalamax still does not want to meeple the 6-point road, and it has to be a mistake, no? Because the meeple advantage that he's holding does not do that much. And of course, eventually Vaya draws a curve, and there's still, if I'm not mistaken, 1 extra curve in the deck after this, and she draws another curve just to rub it in. And she can just do anything, really. She can go here. She can go here. I didn't calculate everything precisely. I'm not even sure if she's winning, because Jalamax still has the field. He has 18 points on the field. But Vaya has 14 points on the monasteries. But Jalamax has a bigger ruin. Oh, and an extra 6-point field. Huh. But Vaya has a meeple. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And honestly, the more I stream, the more I think that sometimes it is more interesting not to know the score. Oh, but this has to be very good for Jalamax. That's a 6-point move. He finishes a city, then drops a farmer for 3 points. And of course gets 3 points extra for his main field. And now Valle has 6.5 minutes to solve this 2-tile endgame. She simply goes for her highest scoring move for 6 points because she takes 3 points for the city and also 3 extra from killing off this farmer. And a 4-point move to finish things up, I presume. The 4-point road. I'm not sure who won. I'm really not sure. I think it should be Jalamax this time, because the fields are just too much. And the ruin's healthy. It's a very back and forth game. Looked pretty good for blue, but then these late farmers did wonders for the Frenchman. Four points is the final difference. So yeah, really, just with the last few tiles, that advantage was gained. A crucial move, of course, was this one over here. And the connection to the city to begin with. Yeah, okay, this is getting more interesting. Now, the Frenchman actually has a chance, so I'm glad that we're following this table. Before we have a look at the decider, let's just see how others are doing real quick. Still 0-0. And all the favorites are winning, except on table 4, where Jadeima took a game from the mighty Estroncio. We might have a look at that table a little bit later. But back to our main course. So, Valle and her blue meeples will be enjoying the starting player advantage in the decider and also a 6-point advantage on the scoreboard as a result of a completed city and road. Interesting aggressive scoring from Valle, going for 4 indirect points instead of 3 direct points, and it is paying off as she's now 10 points ahead of the scoreboard. Equalizes Jala's new city at the bottom. Now probably going to do even a little bit extra. That's what she can do. Yeah, this move makes sense. Starting a new city, also putting a little bit pressure on that green guy. Finally, the Frenchman is also on the board. But the difference of -10 remains. Oh, this is a neat move. Not sure if it's correct, but it's neat for sure. So he's trying to block a little bit Valle's city, and normally I'm not a big fan of blocking early in the game, but in this particular position it actually makes a lot of sense because several crucial city plus road tiles have gone out. For example, 3 out of the 5 road Doritos, but Valle just draws it anyway. I think chickeny a little bit, not meepling this road, so risking giving back 5 points to his opponent, maybe does not want to get blocked. And oh, this is a huge move as Jalamax is trying to invade the city here at the top. Valle is now focusing her efforts on blocking the usual Pindertron maneuver, now taking 2 points and then setting up this city cap for 4 points, and then later looking to block over here, which would also block 2 of Green's meeples. Man, Green's position is just horrible, actually. So certainly this was a well-drawn tile, but still. Rough. Jalamak's also now spending some effort on blocking. To no avail so far. Just trying to delay the inevitable, really. And Vaya gets a just fantastic tile. So she goes for a high-scoring move. 4 points. It also basically eliminates the threats of Green trying to complete the city. The alternative was going over here and blocking the square. But 4 points seemed more enticing to the Spaniard. And this gives just enough time for Green to try and finish these monasteries. Now, Valle has so many options available to her. So she could just take 4 points here. That's a decent move. But I think it's even stronger to just go here and set up the completion of this city. It was also possible for her to go over here and put pressure on this guy. So let's see how this turns out. I think the Spaniard just realizes how big her advantage is. And her main plan now is to simply not try to create variance. So the reason why she didn't go over here, where I was suggesting, is because it's not necessary for her to finish this city. She can just grow it as a ruin. And in fact, I'm a bit surprised that she didn't do that. I probably would have done that. Because, this triple city tile, coupled with a couple more triple city tiles, can spell some trouble for this blue meeple, but maybe not really. Because once the fate of all these meeples is connected, it's so unlikely that this city is going to be finished that these guys are virtually trapped. But one thing that I'm thinking that could still be Jalamax's saving grace, if he does get a triple city tile here, at least one, then the size of this ruin, plus this monastery, plus maybe some 1 or 2 other things, could help him back in this game. Maybe he can block Vaya's meeple now, for example. As I said earlier, not many city plus road tiles remaining. It's mostly city plus field tiles. Jalamax also now successfully scores 4 points and makes it impossible, or very close to impossible, for Vaya to get this here meeple back, but she doesn't have to because she gets another meeple back on the left. Jalamax now makes a mistake. Makes a massive mistake. So what he should have done was simply to go here, trying to set up a triple city tile that would help him create this ruin. Instead, he protected his monastery from a block, but he should not have done this. In fact, this move should be something that makes the Spanish fans very happy because it does more harm than good for the Frenchman. Sure, it makes it impossible for blue to take a straight line and block the square completely, but it makes it impossible for green to get one of the 4 remaining monasteries and 8 points and a meeple back. So this move, it's really just shooting himself in the foot. Yeah, I mean, we see that Vaya did get a straight line and she would have blocked this monastery, but at this core, more risky behavior is encouraged and in fact necessary from the Frenchman. Some rapid moves. Vaya is now using her meeple advantage to develop a 9-point field. On the left, Jalamax with actually a nice comeback, setting up a lucrative city over here. which only he can meeple, because I believe there's only one vanilla city cap remaining. Ah, no, there's 0. So maybe he's not counting quite well, but it was a nice idea. I like the spirit of it, so it's setting up a big opportunity. It was a non-existent opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless. Alrighty, Valle getting even more points. And even more points right now. Jaramax, of course, gets a respectable ruin on the left, but the scoreboard is just too much. And the field. So on this crucial duel on table 3, it looks like Spain is going to prevail. And with that, have excellent chances in this match. It's interesting how all the monasteries were drawn towards the end of the game. I mean, what's up here? $33 points is the difference. Yeah, so we just didn't see the last move over here. So Valle ahead on the farms and on the scoreboard, and that combines to a massive, massive destruction. Yeah, some nice draws, but I think a very deserved win for Valle. She was very aggressive throughout. And yeah, just a very difficult duel for Jaramax. So, usual scoreboard update, and then we carry on. I'm not sure with whom. Let's see how they're doing. Whoa. Yes, so everything has not been fully updated, but it's just a matter of time. Let's have a look at Estroncio. They're having to be the favorite, but you know, who knows? Who knows? Hi, Glovier. Gonna get that match in due course. Actually, not much at all. And now, a very volatile move by Jadima. There is a field fight brewing in the center. Okay, let's take this position part by part. So 12 points for Jadima, who's playing red. And then there's meeple parity at the moment. Now, this city is completely equal, so it's pretty much irrelevant. Blue's monastery for 8 points is suffering because there's only one tile remaining to fit into this square, and even if blue gets it, it's likely going to be a bit of a wait. But another monastery is much, much more important. Whoever gets the first road monastery is going to enjoy quite a lot of points, 9 to be exact. And there's also one straight line for red to go over here and capitalize on his road. Yeah, so what about that field fight though? So Estroncio has himself this early farmer, which is scoring 9 points at the moment. Jarima, in the meantime, getting 4 for this road, getting himself more stuff on the scoreboard. Yeah, so 9 farming points. And Jarima is trying to not only invade, but double invade this farm with a road monastery. And yeah, it looks like this here move is just simply setting up a 75% chance to win. Because I think if I'm Estroncio, I'm so scared of that invasion that I simply plan to win this game by drawing both road monasteries and denying red the spot. Because if red does not invade this, suddenly this farmer is trapped at 3 points. This farmer is trapped at 0 points. This road is trapped at 7 at most. And then blue has free reign with a meeple majority on the left part of the board to just develop his field to epic proportions. Also, it needs to be noted that blue has an opportunity, theoretically, to finish this city, as there's still one starting tile remaining that fits into the square for 10 points potentially. So let's see where this brings us. And I think one of the things that blue was thinking is whether it's his worth to start a new city, and he decides that it is. He did so in a slightly counterintuitive way. The move that I was expecting was something like this, just taking more points. But then, of course, Jarima uses the other part of the city to immediately reinvade. I guess what blue didn't want, blue didn't want to block. And maybe blue's plan is to do something like this and finish just the top part of the city with a splitter. But blue's getting simply quick points for now. And also that's a rather smart way of getting quick points. So he does not want to get the quick points here.